Very interesting reading. Your underlying energy is the Ten of Coins. Underneath that, you have the Ten of Cups. Damn, that's two good cards right there. The Emperor is someone that's a stronghold. Okay, no, I'm just kidding. But this is someone that's super stubborn. Someone that has to have their way at the highway. But the Emperor is your energy, Aries. So it's not a bad thing because it's all about taking action. It's about, putting in putting in the work, doing what you do, which is putting in the work, putting in the fire. Exercising your action cells, okay? Because y'all ruled by Mars, which is all about action, all about taking action, all about doing things. And one of the things that Aries, you guys are good at doing is that when your mind is set to something, you do it. No overthinking it, no over processing, no nothing. You guys have had that period last year where you guys were overthinking a lot of things, but I think you guys are back to your old selves of getting it done, right? Get her done. Well, I think there was. I think there is, but there's that desire. But I feel like it's not overthinking this time. It's more of still trying to get over a situation that didn't turn out the way that you wanted it to, and of course still finding the means and the strength to push forward when of course you're looking at the results of a situation that didn't really come up to be very awesome. Now Mars is in Taurus at the moment. So we are looking, Mars is, I don't think he likes being in Taurus too very much because even though Taurus is all about, value and, being practical, it's slow, which Mars is not really cool about, and getting things done. Like, it's a lot more chilled out, a little bit slower and kind of not as fiery and passionate as Aries or Aries or Scorpio. So yeah, we're looking at the value of what we're going to be doing. I think we're looking at how will our actions result in how our actions manifest into the physical in a lot of ways. And it makes sense in this reading because of how the Ten of Coins is coming up, which Ten of Coins is Pentacles and Pentacles is Earth energy. So that's about your happily ever after, but it's coming from a place of wanting to share that happiness with someone else. The abundance is not necessarily about, hey, I want to see money. I want more money. For some of y'all, it literally is just money, but I don't think it's money. I think it's more about, is this lifestyle, is this goal, is this, situation, is this relationship going to make me happy? Am I going to see or feel the happiness that I've been wanting to feel from the very beginning since I met this person? Because obviously there's another person that's coming in here because it's the Queen of Swords. Somebody who's definitely stubborn. I feel like you're in your energy, or at least trying to be, but it's hard when somebody's kind of cuts you down or constantly cuts you down with the Queen of Swords there. Because how you guys connect, what brought you together is the Queen of Swords, seriousness. Seriously, defensiveness as well. Like, you guys were ready to cut people at some point because you guys were hurt. You guys been through some really difficult things, and so did the other person, and that's what connected you both. That sense of understanding of, hey, we went through some shit together. Well, we went through some shit personally, but we're connecting because that shit it had made us a little tougher. It made us a little, a little more, dangerous as people, in like a gangster kind of way. But hey. It is what it is. But seriously though, this person and you connected with things you've experienced, pleasant and unpleasant, and I feel like it's mostly unpleasant. But the problem now, the challenge is really figuring out whether or not it's worth even considering, or I think not even considering if this is, worth putting the effort into. I think that's part of it. But I think the other part of it is trying to figure out if there's what else you can do with the situation, what else you can put into it, right? Because the Emperor was 3 cards down and underneath the underlying energy, so that's a past energy in my opinion. So you've been the advocate, to the person that does, the person that's extended yourself, the person that's been doing stuff. And now, right, with the completion of, with the emotional cycle being the way that it was, how can you get to a place of happiness when, when everything that you've done so far hasn't really resulted in anything coming back to you? So, anyway, that being said, pick the side that resonates with you the most, considering that these readings here typically have 2 sides. But We're going to start with this person on his side here with the Page of Wands in the mental space, with which the mental plane indicates to us, helps us understand what this person's mentality is going into this relationship. What do they think going into this relationship, or what do they think of the relationship? Period, not the other person. So what they think of the relationship is that, yes, this potential for fun, potential for greatness, the potential for tapping into pure passion. This is something that this person really wants to enjoy. And the card that you guys have as well from your romance angels is engagement, which is like your love life is ascending to a higher place of commitment. And it can be, right? And I feel like for a lot of you guys, it has this higher potential. And that's why you have this excitement, this enthusiasm here with the Page of Wands. The enthusiasm, the excitement there is there. And you guys are ready to pursue it. You're ready to take action on it. Some of you guys are ready to, to really experience it, or wanting to. And the other person is showing the Four of Wands rather. This is already being at a place of being at a higher place of commitment. That's the exact card I want to see when I see the engagement card. And that's good because this person does feel like they're in a stable place. They're able to, to expand and to grow a little bit further, right? To see, how things can kind of go, after, everything's been established. But here's where it gets really interesting, right? When this person sees this relationship as perfect, a success, something successful, something great that's happened, something really positive in their life. Same with the Page of Wands. We move on to the Hangman, which talks about stagnancy and not moving forward. It's almost like this person doesn't want to leave here. Even though this person knows that this is not where they should be trying to stay forever, right? This person's got the Hangman where they're like, yeah, but I like it here. So with the Hangman being that second energy, it tells me this person is needing of a new perspective on how things work, on how things should be, and how things should be for themselves, right? Which brings us back up to the challenge being the Seven of Coins, right? Trying to figure out whether or not it's worth either, continue to move forward. Now, when it comes to this too, I don't think it's necessarily because they're not seeing the results of their labor, or they're not seeing the situation turn out the way they want to. Not totally, because this is where it could be. Like, this person can see that there's potential for, or they have established a stable connection, a stable foundation at one point, and they can't move forward with it not because they can't, no, they're not willing to, but that they just can't, or they need to see something from a different perspective. Things are just not moving. Period. Right? As much as they've been seeing things from a different perspective, trying to understand, trying to connect with the other person from the other side, they still can't make the situation happen outside themselves. So things are stuck. Things are solid. They're not, at the same time, right? Like I said before, it may be that this person needs to see something from a different perspective, or is that they just literally can't do anything at this moment, and they're trying to figure out what else they can do, because even though they're trying so hard to, I feel like this person's trying very hard to see a different side of the story, or seeing things from a different perspective, there's still not anything's telling them what they need to do to continue to grow the relationship, because there's potential for growth here. Get what I'm saying? But at the same time, too, this can indicate, like I said before, the person needing to see the situation from a different perspective, and tying to the Seven of Coins, they're trying to figure out whether or not it's worth it or not to pursue this, to pursue more, to go further, to invest time and energy toward it, because perhaps they see that they think this relationship can get to a Four of Wands place, but they have put in so much work and they don't know, they don't see why they should continue, or they're trying to figure out what they can do, or why they should continue if they still haven't gotten to the place that they want to be, right? So there's two ways of looking at that. Now, the other person is showing the Five of Cups. Five of Cups talks about losses. It talks about looking at things that are no longer here, that are missing, that are gone. It's the crying over spilled milk kind of card, but it's not really crying. It's not really crying over spilled milk, because it's more than milk. It's something precious, something close to your heart. It's something that's gone, that's happened, and it's something that you cannot reverse. But there's always growth. There's always pushing, moving forward, and leaving the past behind. And I feel like the problem here with the person, I don't know if it's leaving the past behind. I think it is, because of the Seven of Coins. It's also a challenge. And the reason why I say that is because the person's looking at what's not here, or what's gone, or what's missing. And they're having a hard time figuring out whether or not it's worth pursuing if so much has been lost. But they have two cups here. The connection is here. The relationship is still maintaining. There's things that they can still do. There's opportunities that they can take right behind them and pursue it and use it for the best of their ability. And that again in turns to the seven of coins into how else am I supposed to use what I need to use to grow? What do I need to do to expand? The problem is with that is that the person doesn't know that they have the two cups behind them because they're so focused on the three cups that's fallen. So their attention is on how is this worth my time or effort anymore if everything that I've established has been gone and lost. It's finding it's just shifting the focus away from, well, how can I move forward if this is gone, to what do I need to do to continue to prosper and to grow? Because I think at the same time, right, I think this person, like I said, is not quite aware that the connection is still there, and they're finding it very hard to continue to move forward when they don't know the two cups are there in the first place. If this person shifted their focus to look at the two cups, I feel like this person would be able to find what they need to continue to reevaluate how their approach is and then pursue it, but not reevaluate in the sense of like trying to figure out whether or not they should stay in it or stay out of it. Now, the reason why everybody's got these cards coming up the way that they have been is because of the Ace of Wands. Now, for this individual anyway, right? The reason why they're looking at the loss, looking at things that may not be there anymore, and they not realize it's two cups behind them, and not see that there's potential for growth here, potential for things to get better, right? And even the Page of Wands can be excitable, can be fun. There can be a potential for a new adventure here. The reason why they don't see this is because I think the Ace of Wands, it's interesting. Because the Ace of Wands would suggest to me that there is a rekindling of flame. Rekindling, reconnection, getting back together with the ex. With the Ace of Wands, there's a need for action. There's action that needs to be taken. Or there's action that needs to be taken because this situation is starting out, right? It's starting right now. Right, but the reason as to why this is all coming up may be because this person needs to take action on a new beginning that can be started right by figuring out what they want to feel, shifting their focus away from what they've lost to what they want to feel, and just acting on how they want to feel versus letting this situation that happened to cause great loss and pain for this person to dictate how they move forward. Get what I'm saying? So there's potential for greatness here. It's just the person needs to realize that, hey, this ain't everything that you lost. You haven't lost everything. There's someone around you that still loves you, that still wants to be with you, that still wants to work with you. There's still compatibility here, but it's about looking at the compatibility or looking at how you want to feel to be able to find someone that will match that, which would potentially bring in some sort of reconciliation or a new spark of some sort of passion. What do you want to feel? Don't worry, it will be matched. Like I was explaining, I think in water signs for the weekend reads, that everything is a vibration. And if you rock a high vibration, you will be, universe will price match you, okay? They will match that price and, or even higher, right? They will continue to give you, your high vibration back to you, right? In different forms, in different ways, in different avenues. But if you have a low vibration, they're going to continue to send you that because they like to price match, right? They like to match you. They're like, ooh, let me do the same thing. They're like little kids. Let me do the same thing, right? Let me copy you. Like they're going to do that. And they'll do it in different extremes, until you shift your energy to the direction that you want to shift it to. So this is what this person I feel like needs to do most importantly, because they have ideas and they have passion. They're ready to go, but they're holding themselves back here by focusing on what they don't have, which is not going to get them anywhere. Now the other person is showing the Three of Coins. The Three of Coins showing this, the spiritual plane here, right? Spiritual plane talking about, why everything is showing up the way it is. Why this person doesn't move, is not taking action even though they're in a good space to start taking action and expanding. And it's because this person with the Three of Coins, I feel like they had a plan, or they had a structure, or they had a certain destination that they had mapped out, and it's going to need to be improv, right? It's not going to be cookie cutter the way they've planned it or they expected it to go. They're going to have to figure out how to move things forward, without going according to plan. Now, at the same time, now the Three of Coins can also indicate to me that this person, feeling though they can't, if like things are stagnant, not taking action, but they have, they see the relationship as, stable, or there is potential for stability in this relationship and success and growth, is because of the, let's see, I lost it for a second, guys. Three of Coins is about expansion, looking in the future, planning things out with people. And again, I think it has a lot to do with not knowing what to do, to be honest with you. Because, usually you can kind of see foreseeable future. You can start planning, you start dreaming, getting ideas and working those into a certain strategy. But I feel like this person's having a hard time seeing what the future can offer them if there's nothing happening. So this person, in a sense, is, it needs to see things from a different perspective, to start dreaming, or at least start seeing things progressing, and at least having a plan or a strategy to progress forward, with or without the person. And not just kind of limited to just having it to just being a thing where, this can only be grown with only the other person, right? It's very interesting. But I feel like this visualization is the problem. Not seeing that there can be a future with, with either the person that you want or someone brand new, someone that matches their energy, someone that's willing to grow and build with them, right? But the Three of Pentacles, to me, it's like things are on hold because there was plans that, there was going to be moving to, there's someone's connected with the plan, or they're committed to the plan. Plans, Three of Pentacles, I don't ever see that as commitment, but I feel like someone's committed to a certain way things are going, or committed to a certain way things have gone, and they're not willing to change that right now, because they're happy with where they are. It's interesting. So they're willing to wait. They're willing to stay upside down and not do anything at the moment, because they have a plan. They know what they want to do. They know what will make them happy. And if it requires them to be more patient, if it requires them to to allow the person the allotted time to expand, to grow, then it looks like this person's willing to do it because they have a happy place. They just don't know what to do at this point because they've done as much as they could. But there's always something that you can do. It's always reflective of what the person needs to do for themselves, which is why I always say, don't ever just sit there and wait. Look within yourself, figure out what things you need to change for yourself that you may not like, that you may feel like you need the person for, because you don't, right? You don't need the other person for that. You need yourself. And that, that kind of self-work will bring them closer, because you're going to connect, you're raising your vibration in. But I feel like this person is good with the relationship that they have with this person, or had, or whatever the circumstance is, and they're not really ready to break away from the plan or come up with something new. They're just good with where they are. So that's interesting, right? So let's take a look at you guys' wisdom of the Oracle to wrap up your reading here. Give you some additional advice for the fire signs, the Aries. Let's see what's going on. Okay, exchanging gifts is what's come out. And I've dropped it on the floor. I'm not going to keep that because it fell on the floor, so I'll fall on the floor if you want me to. If it comes out again, y'all, we know what's up. But if it did, imagine is what y'all got. What did I just say? Visualizing and executing. Okay, it's very seriously telling you to go into that place, of that magical place of that spawns creativity, which is your mind, which is your emotions, the place that's called your imagination, to think of and see the potential for greatness to come. You can have whatever you want to, but you have to first believe it's there and allow yourself to imagine it. Don't. I think the biggest thing is too is like when it comes to happiness, when the 10 of coins, it's like it's a very restrictive happily ever after. It's very restrictive. While in my opinion, the 10 of cups is more. It's full of fantasy. It's full of possibilities. It's endless because it doesn't have real things in it. It's all emotion. It's all feeling. It's all. It's everything that's abstract. Well, pentacles, they're concrete. They're real. They're physical. If you have an emotion towards something, you have unlimited potential for things to come into your life. The second we start limiting those, that's when we start to think that, okay, so this is the only way we can get this. No, continue to believe and dream, because miracles happen in so many different ways and for so many different reasons that I can't even explain. But it starts by believing in yourself and imagining and going back into allowing yourself to imagine, because it can be painful. I know sometimes to sit there and dream of a reconnection with an ex or being in a beautiful relationship because of the things that you've gone through in the past. But you don't have to experience those things because, those pains in the past, because there is a growth to them, right? You've grown so much since that situation. You have different boundaries now.